By stubbornly refusing to consider any alternative to the replacement of Trident nuclear weapons, isn't Labour refighting the political battles of the 1980s? Opinion polls consistently show a majority of the public now think that Trident should not be replaced, especially at a time when big cuts in public spending are forecast. Aren't you out of step with public opinion on the issue?
Well, I don't think we're being stubborn, and I don't think we're living in the past. I'm passionately committed to a world without nuclear weapons. That's what we signed up to when we signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in the 1970s. But I'm committed to multilateral disarmament in which Britain plays its full part. We've reduced our number of warheads down to the absolute minimum. Trident is the minimum deterrent. We now have a new round of multilateral arms reduction, nuclear arms reduction talks, led by the Americans and the Russians. We should be part of that. And it's through that multilateral path that we play our proper role in the international community. We're a founder signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty and a nuclear weapons state under its legislation. So we should fulfill those responsibilities, meeting our commitments to tackle proliferation, our commitments to spread safe nuclear power, but also our commitments to multilateral disarmament.
I'm a multilateral disarmer. Britain is recognised in the 1970 Non-Proliferation Treaty as a country with nuclear weapons. Our best contribution that we can make to disarmament is by being active participants in the multilateral disarmament talks that are taking place. But when it comes to Trident and the upgrade of Trident, I'm not going to sign a blank cheque for that. I say, like the other issues that we need to look at, it does need to be part of a strategic defence review where we look at, is it the right weapon for the future? Does it give us the minimum deterrent? Is it the least cost option? And what scale of deterrent do we need? So I'm a multilateral disarmer, but I also say we've got to properly scrutinise the upgrading of Trident.
I think my leadership colleagues are very much stuck in the new Labour mindset in their stubborn refusal to consider scrapping Trident. The point is that defence chiefs are saying that Trident doesn't really serve any useful purpose, could not be used independently, and is not the best use of public money. I mean, the Ministry of Defence is fighting against having Trident included in its own budget. So I think the public, defence chiefs and common sense is on the side of those of us that want to scrap Trident.
We've talked about Trident a lot in the leadership election campaign, and I always make 3 points. First of all, there's a case for getting rid of Trident on the grounds that we should disarm unilaterally. I disagree with that. I think that would weaken our ability to argue for multilateral disarmament. I think the country agrees with that. They don't think we should go it alone and weaken our position to argue for proper disarmament. Secondly, that it would help us save public spending now. Also, I don't think that's a good argument. All the evidence is that to decommission Trident now would actually cost billions and billions of pounds over the coming decade. So to get rid of Trident doesn't save you public money. But thirdly, there is a case as we renew Trident for asking the fundamental question, is this the right weapon system? Are there better alternatives? Are there cheaper alternatives, more effective alternatives? Could you configure Trident in a more cost-effective way? I think that's a good debate for us to have. I have no problem at all about saying, let's put Trident into the defence review. Let's ask all of those questions. But does the public support a unilateral approach to Trident and to nuclear disarmament? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I don't think the conditions are there for Britain to take a dramatic step and to disarm unilaterally at this point in time. Nevertheless, I think where we have common ground with everybody is that we want to see the reduction of our nuclear commitment over time and, of course, a reduction in the spending on that nuclear commitment over time. So what I have said is that I would include Trident within the current defence review. It has been excluded. I would include it in this current review. And I've also said that we should look at how we can work in partnership with other nuclear states to bring down the overall nuclear commitment and the cost of nuclear weapons. But the last thing I would say is it's important to differentiate this issue from the deficit reduction challenge that we face. We could not make a contribution to that reduction plan from scrapping Trident. The cost of decommissioning Trident would be huge. So it's important to say there is no short-term silver bullet here in terms of the financial challenge that the country faces. These are big, long-term strategic questions. Personally, I don't believe I know enough about how the security of the world will develop in this century that Britain could right now take the very dramatic step of disarming unilaterally.